The following is a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about them Cowboys?
Yeah! Go Cowboys! This is Talkin Cowboys. Streaming live from the Dallas Cowboys World Headquarters at the Star in Frisco.
C.D. Lamb, touchdown.
Parsons has sacked it. Prescott keeps it, and he bangs it in for the touchdown.
And now your hosts, Isaiah Stanback, Patrik Walker, Josh Rodriguez, and Kyle Youmans.
It's a Talkin Tuesday edition of Talkin Cowboys presented by Black Rifle Coffee Company. Live from the Star in Frisco, Texas in the SWBC studio. Do what Patrik Walker is doing. Punch in the phone line, 888-855-2297. We're answering your questions. We're talking to Cowboys Nation as early as the first segment today. We're going to get into it quickly here. 888-855-2297.
Bloodline rules. Let's do it.
There you go. Patrik Walker, Josh Rodriguez, Chris Beam in the back. I'm Kyle Youmans. Glad you're with us here on this Talkin Cowboys Tuesday. Gentlemen, how we doing today?
Doing a little bit better.
Yeah, you got some sleep last night, which is good.
Got some sleep.
That's first checkbox.
Right. Yeah. The remaining checkboxes are for the Cowboys to do. So, I mean, I did my part. I got some rest, right? And now we see if the Cowboys can finally turn a page over these past several weeks and do something in Atlanta. But before they go to Atlanta and do anything, they've really got to finish owning what happened in San Francisco, especially the third quarter. So I'm interested to hear, not even interested. I can't wait to hear what fans of Talkin Cowboys and listeners and viewers call in and have to say. Say it with your chest today.
What would you like the fan question to be today? I was mulling over a couple different ones.
You know what? Go ahead. I want to hear yours.
No, I mean, considering what they're going through right now, we're going through the same thing. Right?
Absolutely.
We're expecting a lot more from this team. I would say at least, what's the barometer now? What do you want to see for the rest of the year? What is your crystal ball telling you for the rest of the season?
Maybe like how have your expectations changed?
I like that.
Yeah.
Let's go with that.
Yeah.
What was yours going to be? I'm curious.
No, it wasn't that. It wasn't as good as that.
No, I want to know. What was it?
Well, I mean, it was going to, because it segues off of what we talked about yesterday, and it was another iteration of me talking about how confusing it is to not see Dak Prescott use his legs. And then we hear Jerry Jones talk on 105.3 The Fan this morning, and Jerry literally said he would prefer not to see Dak take off and run. So I was going to ask fans, which side of that fence are you on? Are you more on the take off and run Dak and try to get as many yards as you can to help this team win because they need every possible positive they can get?
I'll give them both questions.
Yeah, or you on the Jerry Jones side that say, hey, it's just not worth it.
I like it. And that's the thing, and continuing with news and notes and Jerry being on the fan just a couple moments ago, but that was one of the number one takeaways I had was he basically said, even through like a crackly phone line and phone call, he said, I don't have it in big white letters at the Star in Frisco, but I don't necessarily want him running the football.
Yeah, he doesn't like it. I mean, he said it in a lot of words, but
lots of them.
Right, but the bottom line of what he was saying was that because of the risk, he doesn't feel like it's worth seeing Dak Prescott use his legs. And I am on the other side of that because this is a game of risk. And like I sat here and told Isaiah, shouts out to IRS, he'll be back after showing out on Good Morning Football. I told him there's as much, if not more, risk for Dak Prescott to sit in the pocket right now because of the pressure that he's under and the duress that he's under as his offensive line struggles to consistently block pass rushers and defensive lines. So if we're talking risk, what carries the most risk right now? Because your O-line isn't blocking consistently. So being a statue in the pocket might get you killed.
Yeah, 100%. I politely disagree with Mr. Jones, and I feel like you have to take the chances that you're afforded when the offensive line is not blocking for you. You're right. If you stand back there, you're going to get hurt either way. You're going to take the hit either way. You're getting hit a lot more than you're used to, at least if you're Dak Prescott this season. And look at what Brock Purdy did. Brock Purdy was able to gain some yards on the ground, and I don't think he really necessarily took a lot of hits in that scenario. He's running out of bounds. He's running safely.
He's sliding.
And granted, I get it. You slide more than a few times during the game. Those reps they're gonna haunt you, basically. The more you do it, but pick up the yards where you can, man. Like you can't be relying on these 3rd and 10 throws down the field because those are obviously not connecting. You need to give your offense a better chance at third down.
If I had confidence in the wide receiver room and the tight end room to build some separation and to be consistent in that regard, I think I'd be okay with Dak staying in the pocket because I get it.
Of course.
I think I'd be fine with him stepping in there, even with the muddiness in the offensive line. His pocket presence is part of his strengths as a pro quarterback.
Agreed.
He can maneuver through pressure.
And
it's the fact that whenever he maneuvers through pressure, and then he looks downfield and there's nobody open. That's when I have a problem. Get out of there.
Then go.
Don't
Bail
just
out.
sit there
Abort
and try
mission.
something else. So I do. I think a lot of it is predicated on the success of your wide receivers. Now, in the San Francisco game, going back and watching the tape, there were only a couple of opportunities for Dak to run. There was one glaring opportunity where he probably could have picked up 8-9 yards.
when he's holding the ball for like 10 seconds.
That one was significant. But other than that, I thought he basically stuck with CeeDee Lamb, made sure his number one target could get open and build some separation, which he did most of the time. And then other than that, it was forcing it into tight windows.
Yeah,
And
we didn't even talk about how good of a game CD had.
CD was incredible.
But in that same regard, the other receivers were not getting open.
No.
And he's just not taking those opportunities, which is, it's not something we're used to seeing from Dak Prescott,
Yeah.
I think.
Another thing that
it's
was
declined, obviously.
Absolutely. It's
That aspect of his game. And they were talking about on the break yesterday, his traits coming out of Mississippi State were the fact that he was a dual threat quarterback.
Absolutely.
Man,
And he could run over some people, you know what I mean?
He was a dog. He was a dog at Mississippi
I have been
State.
calling for Mississippi State Dak. That is the phrase.
We used that in,
years
what,
now.
2021?
Yes, Mississippi
Yeah.
State Dak. Where is he going? Have you seen him?
Tell me, have you seen
him? I mean, bring him back.
Bring him back.
Bring him back.
I thought you were going to say something else.
No, just bring him back.
It had too much of like
Period.
a rhythm
It
to
did
it. Bring
have
him
that
back. Bring him back.
intonation, but yeah, I almost
Bring him
went
back.
for TIs and going to
Yep.
Atlanta this weekend. So
Yep, there you go.
Bring him out. Bring him out.
Mississippi Dak, where are you?
All right. It's hard to win when he's running down your mouth.
Where are you?
Oh, I'm so sorry. I love that's like my childhood. The other talking points from Jerry Jones on 105.3 The Fan. I thought Bobby Belt asked a great question regarding the. I don't want to call it a subcommittee, but it kind of is underneath Jerry Jones in terms of the front office and how those guys are responsible for the good and bad decisions that they make. How are they held responsible? And I thought he was kind of looking at it as Dallas hasn't necessarily hit well in each of their last two drafts. They're still the jury's out on a lot of those guys still, but to this point, I think from across the board, you would say it's underwhelming from the 2023 and 24 draft classes so far. I thought maybe Bobby was alluding to and maybe probing into the front office, and instead Jerry Jones said, I put Mike McCarthy here for that reason. I put Mike McCarthy here because he has a significant role, and I want him to have a say. Head coaches in the Cowboys organization, it's a common misnomer that they don't have say when it comes to roster building. They absolutely have a ton of say in this building, and Mike McCarthy's another reason for that. And I thought it was just interesting the way he answered that question.
Yeah, and especially when you have the skins on the wall like Mike McCarthy has, and like during the Bill Parcells era, and like you said, it is a misnomer that. Let me put it this way. At one point in time in the chronology of Jerry Jones's ownership of this team, there was an iron fist that ruled this team. And that was, connected to Jerry Jones's forearm. But in recent seasons, it's much more of a Knights of the Round Table, which is what I call it, where there's much more of a consultation with Stephen Jones and Will McClay and just those guys around him, Mike McCarthy, the head coach, and whoever else might be in that echelon that they have Jerry's ear. And that tends to lead to things like roster decisions. Proof positive being, did the Cowboys care about the safety position before Dan Quinn got here? Absolutely no, they did not, right? Did they really, really address the defensive line position before I said back in on Dan Quinn because that's Monty Smith? But then when you see some of the moves that they made with in training camp with Mike Zimmer, still waiting for those to more or less pan out, but the moves were made.
They care about linebacker more.
So, I mean, it's no longer an iron fist situation as it was in the 90s. You look at the split between Jimmy and Jerry and how that went. And now it's much more of a consultation. But because Jerry is the figurehead of it all, he's going to get all the criticism, but none of the praise when it comes to the fan base. When they hit on the draft pick, and deservedly so, Will McClay will get the praise.
Yes.
When they miss on the draft pick, Jerry Jones gets the criticism. Right. So
yeah.
I mean, that's just how the fan base kind of goes.
Of course, I mean, if you look no further than the draft, it's a war room. That's the brain trust of the Dallas Cowboys currently is that war room of executives and Will McClay that are able to build this roster. And if you don't think that the coaches have any say in the personnel, look at the turnover on defense when Mike Zimmer came in to the picture, and look at the linebacker room last year compared to this year. So obviously it's there. It's just it's different now.
It is, and I think people misunderstand just how much of a decision-making authority from a personnel standpoint Stephen Jones has in this equation as well. So people are so accustomed to, well, if the Cowboys sign this free agent or don't sign this free agent, it's all on Jerry. Well, the buck does stop at Jerry, but the buck may not always make it to Jerry in the capacity of if Stephen Jones believes wholeheartedly that we need to sign this guy or we don't need to sign this guy, and he sells Jerry on that, then it's sold.
Yeah,
right. I think it's becoming more and more rare where it's a situation where Stephen Jones may have a stance here, and Jerry just feels so strongly about this individual, like an Ezekiel Elliott, for example.
Sam Williams is the most notable
Sam Williams is another one.
Or the most recent one I can think of.
Or in the recent past, like a Randy Gregory, right? Where it's like Jerry feels so much about this particular guy. But I think that era more or less started to get behind us with the divorce from Dez Bryant. Right, I think that if you look at
even before that, Johnny Manziel, the pick that was another very
perfect example of the round table just convincing Jerry, saying, "No, please don't do this. Just please don't do this." And then with the Dez situation, it was likely Jerry wanted Dez to remain, and the Knights were like, we got to move on from that. Yeah. Now, of course, that ended up biting them in the rear over the next several weeks of that following season, and then they had to trade for Amari Cooper. But if we're simply talking about the decision-making process, it's not what it was in the 90s. There are a handful of advisors, Stephen, Will, Mike, et cetera, the contract team, Adam, and so, I mean,
there's a lot of decision
makers that sit at that table.
Well, and that's kind of what I think Bobby was alluding to in the fact that it's not just Jerry anymore. It's not just Jerry as the Iron Fist. And how does the responsibility fall outside of Jerry Jones now? Who is held responsible when things don't go right? And he said that's where he brought up Mike McCarthy specifically, but he said that's part of it, is you are going to be held responsible, especially within these walls, even if it's not in front of the media, even if it's not in terms of an employment standpoint, you will be held responsible if you're the one that's putting these ideas on the table and they don't necessarily work out. Before we take our first phone call, any other points from Jerry that you'd like to hit?
No, that was a great takeaway from Bobby's question. So good job there. And as far as the Dak thing, I really am interested to see what the fans' answers to that are going to be, as well as Josh, who has a great question as far as crystal ball. Like, what do Cowboys fans think are going to happen from here on out?
Yeah, what is your crystal ball telling you?
Yeah.
Let's talk about it with one of our good friends. We've met him before now. Cole T is on the line. Cole T shirts is what I should call him, because the T-shirts that we wore on Friday.
Cole T 45.
He's the one that made those T-shirts. Cole, you are on Talking Cowboys. What's going on, buddy? Cole, you there?
Yeah, I'm here, buddy.
What's going on, man?
Yeah, nothing much. I'd ask y'all how y'all are doing, but I feel like I know how you're doing professionally, so I hope you're doing well personally.
Yeah, it's definitely been a struggle, but we're going to ask you a couple of questions here. The first one is, how have your expectations changed for this Cowboys team now that you've kind of gotten to this 3-4 mark and you're 8 weeks into the season?
It's not looking good so far for me personally. I feel we're getting away from a lot of things that are taught to you, when you first start playing football and, moving up into the professionals. And that's my big thing, is I feel like on every layer of the football team, we're getting away from our fundamentals. Mm-hmm. And that's a big problem with me. Like, it's a glaring issue every week I see, tackling. tackling to me, I when I was taught football, I was taught get low, drive through with your shoulder, and wrap up. And I'm seeing so many guys just shoulder tackle, and then, oops, you get stiff-armed away, and now you're tackling with your back, and the running back bounces off and runs up for another 5-10 yards.
Yeah.
But, yeah, if we can't get that fixed, we're not going to, be any better.
Yeah, along those same lines, I mean, Jerry talked about communication on the offense. That's a fundamental. You've got tackling on the defense, both sides struggling with some of the bare bones. Now, one last question before we let you go. Dak Prescott, would you like him to run, or would you like him to kind of keep as a pocket passer with the importance that he has to this football team?
At this point in the season, I don't care if Dak becomes the leading rusher on the football team. Get yards, get points.
I like it, Cole. That's a real football man right there. I like it, as always. Cole appreciate the call. Ball. Appreciate the love, as always. We'll talk to you down the line. Before we take our first break, let's check in with Nebby in Maryland. Our man Nebby on the line. Nebby, what do you think about these expectations? Have they changed for you going into the Week 9 part of the season?
Well, first of all, guys, thanks for taking my call. And also, thank you so much for the happy birthday wishes. Sir. I really appreciate it. And Kyle, I just want to say that as much as I hate to admit it, I am with you, my man, because I am hitting the panic button, and quite honestly, Mike McCarthy won a Super Bowl in his 5th year in Green Bay, and obviously I was hoping history would repeat itself in that regard. But now I believe, and I just want to say before I go that I'm about to make a bold prediction. Oh. And that is that Ben Johnson this next upcoming offseason will be the new head coach.
Is a bold prediction.
Of the Dallas Cowboys. Take care. Thanks for being patient with me, and have a great week. Bye.
Thanks. Appreciate you, Nebby. As always, you could tell he was nervous to even put out the bold prediction, but he did. He said it with his chest. That's what the show is all about. Here's the thing, and
Nebby is 1 year older, 1 year bolder.
He's 1 year bolder. I like it. Nebby does a great job of dissecting this football team. I really think he does. He knows what's going on. He's able to really take into account the whole scheme of it all. And it's funny that he's like, I hate to be on your side, Kyle, but I'm pressing the panic button. When he brought up the 2010 Packers, when he brought up the 5th year of Mike McCarthy in Green Bay, I was just curious what their record was going into their 8th game. They were 3-3 and then won in Week 7. So they were 4-3. It's not like they were necessarily lighting the world on fire. Remember, they kind of snuck into the playoffs. They snuck in at 10-6, and then they got hot in the playoffs. They took down Philly, Atlanta, Chicago, and then, of course, beat the Steelers at AT&T Stadium. So it's not like the season is over, but what is happening right now, and this was my point yesterday, what is happening right now cannot continue.
Correct.
That's the problem. Because I guarantee you, and I'd have to go back further, I wasn't necessarily following the Packers in 2010 in Week 7, but I'd have to go back and look, and I'm sure there were changes made whenever it was 3-3, 4-3, and they were trying to find their way back into contention. That's where I'm at with this football team. You got to do something different.
Totally. But I guess my apprehension here is that you don't see anything about this team that says, December, January football.
Nothing. There's nothing that gives me confidence.
There's no identifying characteristic of that. There's
even
nothing.
there, you had Aaron Rodgers as a young Aaron Rodgers that was playing lights out. He was an MVP caliber at that point in time, even at in that early point of his career. We haven't seen MVP level Dak Prescott yet. He was second in MVP voting last year, but this is not him in 2024.
The only thing you can really hang your hat on right now is the kicking game, and that's not good.
It's not going to win you. That alone is not going to win you a Super Bowl.
No.
And if it does, then give Brandon Aubrey the keys to the building.
He's going to hold out in all camp.
All the rubles. But no, I mean, I think the more troubling thing is the season is not over. It's not over. You're 3-4. You can try your best to go on a run here. It's not going to be easy. We talked about that in great detail yesterday. You are really up against it these next several games going up and through Thanksgiving. But the more troubling thing is like Cole said, and like we've talked about, and like players have talked about, and like coaches have talked about. It's that F word. No, the other F word, ladies and gentlemen. Fundamentals. We're still talking fundamentals going into week 9. And that's what's troubling. So you're still talking fundamentals, and then you look at the gauntlet of teams. You have to get your fundamentals in line in order to have a chance at defeating. Those two things aren't working well together. So can it happen? Yeah, absolutely, it can happen. But being optimistic in this moment about it happening, based on what we've seen to this point, I don't know how you can make that happen for yourself. Right? It's about just being realistic, and realistically speaking, the Cowboys need to show why we need to reinsert optimism into the picture.
Go for it.
I was going to say, if you looked at the defense in the first half of last game, I feel like there were signs of life there. There were signs of life of a run defense. There were signs of life
stopping the run.
Yeah, exactly. But the longer you went into the game, obviously the third quarter was just abysmal on all fronts. It's just like there are signs of life there at times, but it never holds.
There's a pulse, but when you go into a game, and when you exit a game and you end up looking at it and you say, well, Cowboys gave up how many yards rushing? Oh, well, Christian McCaffrey had a day. Oh, no, he didn't play. Mm-mm. Okay, well, Jordan Mason was playing well coming in, so it makes sense that oh, no, it wasn't Jordan Mason. No. It was the rookie.
It's Isaac Garindo.
It was the rookie.
Who hadn't scored an NFL touchdown.
Out of Louisville, who had himself a day. So
good player.
Brock Purdy had more rushing yards than the Dallas Cowboys.
He is, but you would not expect that the running back 3 would be able to come in and perform more or less like running back 1 would have performed.
If running back 3 here, which I guess would either be Deuce Vaughn or Dalvin Cook, however you want to throw it out there. If they would have had a day like Isaac Garindo, this fan base might explode.
Yeah,
like with happiness. Like it's just a complete different.
They were hoping that Dalvin Cook would have that day.
Yeah, it didn't look like it
against the San Francisco 49ers. But I mean, his in game numbers didn't look any differently than Rico Dowdle's did the previous week.
No, I was going to say our Rico game where we danced about it was 90 yards rushing, and I think Garindo had 95.
Yeah,
exactly. You know what I mean? So it's like,
yeah.
We did get excited for a game similar to that, right?
Yeah, you talk about being realistic. I think realistically over the next 4 games, Atlanta, Philadelphia, Houston, and Washington, Dallas needs 2 wins out of that to keep their hopes alive, in my opinion. You got to go 2-2, which puts you 1 game below 500 going into the Thanksgiving matchup against the New York Giants. Assumingly so, they looked bad last night again against Pittsburgh. But assumingly so, you win that game against them on Thanksgiving. You're back at 6-6, and then it's a race to the finish with Cincinnati, Carolina, Tampa Bay, Philadelphia, and Washington. We're looking way down the line, but in order to even give yourself a shot at Thanksgiving, you got to win 2 games that you probably shouldn't win against Atlanta, Philadelphia, Houston, and Washington.
Although obviously I would like them to win every single one of these games.
Sure.
Sign me up for what you just said. I mean, if that's the worst case scenario, I'm totally fine.
I'm looking at it as that's the best case scenario.
Well, yeah, worst case
from a realistic standpoint, I'm looking at it as best case.
Worst
scenario.
case is the season is over at Thanksgiving.
Correct.
So yeah,
that's pretty much the alternative.
So let's compromise. I'll take your compromise there. And 2 wins, if you could just get us 2 wins, and then you go and you beat up on the Giants to get back at 500. And because you made an excellent point. Right now, we're not seeing December and January football, but it's because we're still in October. And hopefully, if the Cowboys can get to 500, when it really starts to matter, back end of November, going into December, because we have seen that this team and Dak Prescott really plays well in November. He just really does.
Yeah.
And in recent history, the Cowboys and Dak Prescott, they've played well in December as well. They kind of turned that narrative. I remember the Tony Romo years where the Cowboys struggled so often to get on any type of run in December, and then right on the back end of Romo's before he got injured, he kind of turned that narrative. But then Dak came in, and he kind of was playing December ball, hot December ball. So just don't go into December at like 3-7.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because then you're in more trouble than you signed up for. But if you can go in December at 500, so you're saying there's a chance.
You're saying it's December, dude? Let's go.
So
Hey, November starts on Friday. Let's get it right now. Let's try and figure it out here over these next 4 games. All right, give us a call, 888-855-2297. We're taking more phone calls when we come back with more of a Talkin Tuesday on this edition of Talkin Cowboys. If you're looking for fresh American roasted coffee that gives back, you need to head to your local grocery store and pick up a bag of Black Rifle coffee. That's right, America's coffee is now available in the coffee aisle of a grocery store near you. Black Rifle Coffee Company is veteran-founded with a mission to give back to those brave men and women who have served our nation. Every bag, box, or can you purchase helps support that mission. Head to your local grocery store and roast yourself some Black Rifle coffee today.
Todd thought it would be secure to jog in the cheetah savanna. Todd believed the big cat repellent he bought online was reliable. And now, Todd is trying to be faster than this cheetah that can run 80 miles per hour. But the good news is, Todd has AT&T 5G that is fast, reliable, and secure. And he learned the best thing to do is stop running and toss her the backpack with the beef stew. AT&T 5G. Fast, reliable, secure.
5G requires compatible plan and device. 5G may not be available in your area. See att.com/5G for you for details.
It's the official men's skincare brand of the Dallas Cowboys, Jack Black. And right now, Cowboys fans can get 15% off their $75 order. Plus, because every deal needs a playmaker, your order will include a free 5-piece skincare set and free shipping. The Jack Black Playmaker is 4 of Jack's favorites and a full-sized intense therapy lip balm. Make a play for the playmaker at getjackblack.com/Cowboys with the code CowboysVIP. That's getjackblack.com/Cowboys with the code CowboysVIP.
If you shout, "How about them Cowboys?" you have that undeniable passion that's the heart of Cowboys Nation. And if you like to drink Dr. Pepper, you love the unique blend of its 23 flavors. Together, your one-of-a-kind fandom paired with the one-of-a-kind taste of a delicious ice-cold Dr. Pepper is the game day lineup that can't be beat. Better yet, gather your Cowboys and Dr. Pepper fan friends to watch the next game and crack open a delicious ice-cold Dr. Pepper for everyone. The wins will be even tastier. It's a pepper thing.
Back to Talkin Cowboys.
Back here on Talking Cowboys, this portion of the show is brought to you by Quaker Oats, the official oatmeal sponsor of the Dallas Cowboys. Quaker Oats, trusted since 1877. Welcome back into Talking Cowboys alongside Josh Rodriguez, my man Patrik Walker.
Ayo.
We've got Chris Beam in the back. So we talked about this initially. I wanted to remind you of the Black Rifle Coffee Rise and Grind.
Let's go.
That's coming up. I'm trying to get the email to load, and my internet is not connected down here, which is unfortunate. Okay, so you're having the same problems. We're going to come back to it in the third segment then, because I want to make sure and give you the right info. Apparently, there are still some spots available.
Absolutely.
You need to sign up because this is a cool, once-in-a-lifetime opportunity.
Do it.
Also, not to mention, Isaiah is talking about getting involved.
Let's go,
well.
Isaiah. So it's called Dallas Cowboys Rise and Grind, presented by Black Rifle Coffee Company.
Nice.
It is a private workout for U.S. veterans and active duty, led by Tim Kennedy of Dallas Cowboys headquarters. Here at the Dallas Cowboys headquarters, that's starting Frisco. It's going to be out in the Tostitos Championship Plaza.
Do it.
Bang.
Get to the
Let's go, baby. Friday, November 8th, 6:45. Sign up at dallascowboys.com/BRCC Rise and Grind.
Nice. There you go. Okay, thank you very much. I'm glad you had that up.
Clutch.
I built the page. So.
Oh, good. That works. Yeah, my internet is not working currently. We'll try and get that back up. But while we do, let's go to Oklahoma City. Gavin, you're on Talking Cowboys. What's going on, Gavin?
Hey, fellas. How's it going?
Pretty good. How have your expectations changed for this football team now going into Week 9?
My expectations are the same for the team. I feel like this team has the star power to do what they need to do. And I think when you look at this team, the inconsistency lies in the coaching. I truly believe that. I think that the play calling has been bad on both sides. You have Shanahan making adjustments at halftime, and you got the defense coming out and base the whole game. Now, I understand we're lacking personnel and stuff like that, but it's offense, too. It's 3rd and 5, and we're handing Hunter Lipke the ball. You know what I mean? This isn't just one game. Even the games we've won, I feel like the play calling hasn't been great. And, this team has just been rooted in disappointment so far.
I like how there was still some optimism there, though, because you said your expectations haven't changed and the players still are available for you to have success with. Do you feel like they can turn it around with what they have currently working in their favor?
I believe the offense will change it around. Where I have a little pessimism is the defense. When we get these reinforcements coming in, Zimmer's going to have to find a different way to utilize Micah, or teams are going to continue to do the same thing they did when they were both here. It's just...
Let me ask you something. What gives you the confidence that the offense is going to turn it around so far this season?
I just think McCarthy has a history of eventually getting things right. I'm not saying he will. And I'm personally a believer that if this continues to go, we might have to have the tough conversation about changing over the play calling duties. But at this point, I think it's too early to do that, because really – who is on the couch or on the Cowboys coaching staff that's going to be able to do a better job than Mike McCarthy? It's really nobody. But, on that, I'll let you guys go. Y'all are the OG Cowboys podcast for me. I listen to y'all every day. And tell Isaiah to stop being all successful and stuff. I need his breakdown every day.
Trust me, we'll try and get him right back here. We'll just tell him to say something dumb.
Though.
He'll be right back in this seat before we know it. Thanks, Gavin. Appreciate the love. Appreciate the support and the call, as always.
City.
Let's go to Gerald in Port Allen, Louisiana. Down in the Port Allen side of things. Gerald, you're on Talkin Cowboys.
Hey, how y'all doing? Good morning. How y'all doing?
Good morning. How are you?
Oh man, it's going pretty good. I love the show. Glad to be on, and I feel like I could I'm pushing the panic button, because I don't know, the defense is a whole lot different than it was previous years. And I know they say we reverted back to like the Mike Nolan era and stuff like that, but it just seemed like they don't know how to tackle or how to do the fundamental things of just playing defense anymore. The offense, I'm not sure what's going on, because it's the same pieces, the same offensive scheme. Dak has to do better on his throws and when he gets pressed, and sometimes he presses too early in the situation, in my opinion, but we have to establish the run better. If we get the offensive line together, get the defensive line together, that's usually the start. I always hear Nate Newton talking about it.
Yeah.
And I feel the same way. But as far as like stopping the run, I'm starting to believe that it's like a cultural, organizational issue, because the culture is not showing us that we can stop the run. We haven't been able to stop the run in years. And then I don't know if we're getting the right, correct pieces in place to be able to stop the run. And it just seems like they're not tackling it. I don't know. I don't understand what we got going on.
Appreciate the call. Appreciate the insight, as always, Gerald. And we'll talk about that here for a moment, Patrick. I think whenever it comes to, he talked about the Mike Nolan era,
right,
going back. It's funny. I skipped right over the Mike Nolan era, and I went back to Rod Marinelli era, where there was bad tackling. You can't stop the run. You didn't control the line of scrimmage. Turnovers were just non-existent. Yeah, there were a lot of things, and Mike Nolan's defense was just downright terrible. And I don't think they have the talent on that defense yet. It was a rookie Trayvon Diggs. It was a rookie. They were young, they were beat up. It just wasn't good in 2020. I think if I'm looking at what I've seen from the Cowboys defense through the first 7 games, I'm looking at it and saying this is Rod Marinelli 2.0.
Yeah, that's fair. And I think a lot of people gave credit to Dan Quinn, obviously, for the job that he did in changing the trajectory of the defense and getting turnovers and playing really playmaker-like defense. But to my opinion now, it certain you also obviously can't give him credit for the run defense because that was also an issue when Dan Quinn was here. It wasn't that great. Like you could always,
it was still a problem.
You could always point to the Cowboys and be like, "Well, just run the ball, and you won't they won't be able to stop you. There's nothing they can do about it." So as much as we're giving Mike Zimmer hell for the way that the defense has played so far this year, you have to look back at those teams too, and the run defense was still an issue.
Yeah.
You just don't have the takeaways anymore, which is a problem.
Well, and he makes an excellent point, and shouts out to him for making this point. And he got my wheels turning because the fact that this has been, and I'm speaking of the run defense, the fact that this has been one of the Achilles heels of this Cowboys defense for several seasons now, over the span of several defensive coordinators, well, then you say to yourself, okay, that means that while each respective coordinator is accountable for their own defense and accountable for not getting those guys able to stop the run, now it starts to become the personnel question, right? So you start to wonder, well, what was the personnel under Marinelli? What was the personnel under Mike Nolan? What's the personnel under Dan Quinn and now under Mike Zimmer? And now we're having these personnel questions, which means we're going back to free agency and the draft. So now we're on that side of the conversation, that side of the round table, where it's just like, okay, well, Mozzie Smith, he was a first round pick, was used on Mozzie Smith with the hopes that he would be that. Okay, he's still developing into that, and he's still having his ebbs and flows and more downs and ups right now. But he just needs to be consistent. There's that word again: consistency versus inconsistency. Right? You throw some money at Linval Joseph to get him here. But is that enough? Was that enough? Go back a few years, and there were free agents that came up, and you could talk about the Ndamukong Suhs of the world and things like that. And I'm not saying they should or should not have gotten those guys, but what if? We can play the what if game here, where it's just like if personnel decisions were slightly different in free agency and attacking the nose tackle and the defensive line position outside of Osa Odigizua, which I still love to death, and just keep Osa in the building, just do it. But now it becomes a personnel question. So if you're saying things like the run defense at a higher level seems to be an organizational concern, I don't disagree there. And then the question becomes, well, what does that mean? It means maybe the personnel and how those groupings are put together on the roster sheet year after year. Maybe that approach needs to change. Maybe be a player earlier in free agency at defensive tackle. And that's how that can kind of trickle down in a positive way.
Yeah, great points all the way around. And I think it's interesting, even off of those two calls, you had Gavin in Oklahoma City saying that he has faith that the offense will turn it around, that the defense is not going to play well. And then you had Gerald who's saying he has faith that the defense can figure something out with a play calling switch. And the offense is what's the problem. And he's talking about Dak Prescott. And it's all these different perspectives of how this thing is intertwined. When we come back, we've got two more calls we're going to get to. We got Sean in Hot Springs, Arkansas, and RDJ from New Jersey coming up on the other side of the break. Hold tight. We've got more Talkin Tuesday coming up right after this.
Todd thought it would be secure to jog in the cheetah savanna. Todd believed the big cat repellent he bought online was reliable. And now, Todd is trying to be faster than this cheetah that can run 80 miles per hour. But the good news is, Todd has AT&T 5G that is fast, reliable, and secure. And he learned the best thing to do is stop running and toss her the backpack with the beef stew. AT&T 5G. Fast, reliable, secure.
5G requires compatible plan and device. 5G may not be available in your area. See att.com/5G for you for details.
They say champions are remembered, but legends are never forgotten. United Ag and Turf offers a winning lineup of John Deere equipment built to tackle any challenge on and off the field. Legendary John Deere tractors, combines, residential mowers, commercial mowers, compact construction equipment, Gator utility vehicles, and a full line of golf and sports turf equipment. United Ag and Turf, the official Ag and Turf equipment supplier of the Dallas Cowboys. Visit UnitedAgAndTurf.com to find a location near you.
Hey y'all, Matt Pittman of Meat Church here. With football season kicking off, I'm already gearing up to bring the smoker back to AT&T Stadium for some epic tailgates. But with that Texas heat, it's crucial to keep my beer hand cramping cold. That's where Yeti's insulated Colster can cooler comes in clutch. This year, you can even get them with the iconic star engraved on the side. Licensed Yeti Cowboys gear is now available at Stadium Pro Shops, concessions, and on Yeti.com. Check it out today. Yeti, official cooler and drinkware of the Dallas Cowboys.
And we're going to overtime.
Erica, how much have I spent on concessions? For questions about their money, Dallas Cowboys fans can turn to Erica, the virtual financial assistant in the Bank of America mobile banking app. Learn more at bankofamerica.com/Erica by your side. Bank of America, official bank of the Dallas Cowboys. Erica responses may vary. Digital tools featured require downloading the mobile banking app and may only be available on select mobile devices. Erica is a mobile feature only available in the English language. Your chat may be recorded and monitored for quality assurance. Message and data rates and additional terms may apply. Bank of America, N.A., member FDIC.
Back to Talkin Cowboys.
Back here on Talkin Cowboys, this segment is brought to you by Invisalign, the official smile of the Dallas Cowboys. Welcome back in, everybody, here on a Talkin Tuesday. Patrik Walker Josh Rodriguez, Chris Beam in the back. I'm Kyle Youmans. Let's go to Sean in Hot Springs, Arkansas. And Sean, by the way, I love Hot Springs. It's one of my favorite spots in Arkansas for sure. Great spot. What's
good
on
water,
your mind? You're
Sean.
on Talkin Cowboys. Yeah, it does have good water, too.
What's going on, guys?
Hey there, Sean.
Well, I just want to give y'all flowers real quick. Y'all are the best show on the lineup. I listen to y'all every morning. I drive a truck, and y'all make my time go by, the day a little bit smoother. I just want to say thank y'all.
I love it, driver. I love
Give
it.
us a yo, you know what I mean?
Are
like
you driving right now?
So question for you, driver. You pulling a reefer? You drive van? You pulling a flat? What are you doing?
I drive a flatbed for Acme Brake.
Listen. Shouts out to all my drivers out there, but the ones who drive flatbeds, they are a different breed. Okay.
Yeah.
So absolutely, Sean, you are the man.
Acme Brick, the official brick of the Dallas Cowboys.
Watch out, Wiley Coyote. This dude's coming for you.
I want to give you some more roses, though. That depends on how you answer this question. Please tell me you're banging gears and you're not in the auto.
Man, they took it from me. I didn't take from me. I'm an automatic now. Everyone's going to it, though.
All right.
It's not the same anymore.
He said it's not my fault, Patrick.
I will allow that. They took it from him. Okay.
That's funny.
Shouts out to Sean.
Well, Sean,
they're playing with bloodline rules.
Sean, we appreciate you as always. But how have your expectations changed for this football team now that we're going into Week 9?
Really, they haven't changed a whole lot. Because with the little bit that was done in the off season and the death row of schedule that we've had coming into it, I kind of expected us to be. But I tell you what, I had a big cup of hopium this morning, and I know they're gonna get it. They're gonna get it. They're gonna figure it out, and I know where the solutions are.
Where are the solutions?
Talk to us.
In the science.
Hey, that's my
boo.
There's always a hater in the bunch.
Why is that? What do you see?
Yes, science.
I want a little bit of the hopium too. I need it this morning. I haven't had my coffee yet. That would be great to just have a nice cup of hopium. What's in the science? What are we getting it done?
They're going to get it done. We're going to start getting healthy on the defensive side. And, after week 1, after the game, a couple of the players said that they haven't even dipped into the schemes that they have built up for this defense. So once they start getting healthy and we get Deron Bland back, Micah, DeMarcus Lawrence to seal up the run and the pass rush, I think that's gonna get us good. And I tell you what, I got us going 3 out of 4 out of the next 4.
Oh, I like that.
I would be all for that.
Sign me up.
That would be fantastic. You want to
I tell you, once we come out of it, once we come into Thanksgiving, they're going to say, Cowboy haters, acknowledge me.
Oh, yes, sir. OTC.
I like it. I do. I like it. This is what I want out of this season. Yesterday when I was pressing the panic button, and by the way, I'm still doing it today, I don't want that to happen. I want this to be a football team that I can cover and be proud about and talk about and have some hope. So I appreciate it, Sean. The optimism is significant. I can feel it radiating in the studio here. Even more so, it would radiate even louder if you could give us one more tug of that horn real quick.
Give him the air horn. Yes, sir.
Let's go. I feel
but
like
I tell you one more thing, Kyle. Before it's all said and done, you're going to trade in that panic button for one of those old Staples buttons. You're going to tap on it, and it's going to say, that was easy.
I love it, man. I love it. Sean, you're a real hero. Appreciate you as always. Stay safe out on the roads. We'll talk to you again down the line.
Y'all have a good one.
There he goes.
This guy's got me hyped up. I feel like
I know. Drivers, man.
I feel like Batista, dude. I'm like walking out. Walk alone. Go. You know what I mean? Like I'm ready for it.
I feel like Batista, but in a different way. I'm looking at the Cowboys, and Sean said he won 3 wins, so I'm looking at the the Cowboys like, give me what I want.
Give me what I want.
Give me what I want.
I love it. That was awesome.
You got a
should
wrestling
have
reference for
asked.
us?
Yeah, no, dude,
No,
I'm
he
good.
doesn't.
Yeah, Stone Cold Steve Austin. That's it.
Hey,
That's what I got.
Sometimes that's
Don't mean
enough.
green. All right, RDJ in New Jersey. RDJ, do you
Robert
happen
Downey
to be
Jr.?
driving a truck as we speak?
Iron Man?
Well, I'm not driving a truck.
4 wheels count. If it has 4 wheels.
I'm sitting on my couch.
Oh, okay.
Well, we appreciate you listening and calling anyways, RDJ. How have your expectations changed for this Cowboys team going into Week 9?
Actually, it hasn't changed. And first of all, I just want to say I love the show. Always love the show.
Appreciate you.
I mean, the combination is just great. And I hope your three triplets are doing well, because I thought that was just great that you were able to have those kids. And I've seen them on the show, the post game show as well with Nate holding them. So that was nice to see.
That was a lot of
but
fun.
anyway, I just want to let you know, Pat.
Yo.
I'm on board with you. I am definitely on board with you about the Cowboys. But here's my problem.
Mm-hmm.
Can someone ask the question, why Dak isn't running? We need to know.
Yes.
I mean, it's so important. I mean, it's just like there are just times when you're saying to yourself, why aren't you running?
Pulls your hair out.
And somebody, one of the journalists needs to ask that question, because it's so important, because it's getting to a point right now that although I have faith in the Cowboys, there are things that are just happening that are not about details anymore. It's not about cleaning up. It's like, what's going on with this offense? What's going on with this defense? Why are we making plays that are so predictable to the other team? And why are we letting other teams run all over our defense? Something's wrong here. And we need to answer questions. But the biggest question is, why isn't Dak running when he should run?
Tell you what I'll do. I'll ask him on Thursday on camera.
Thank you. I'll be listening.
Yeah, if no one beats me to the question, I will get that question.
I'm going to beat him to the question. I'm going to pop up on Thursday, and I'm going to ask it.
Either way.
I'm going to look you in the eye as I ask it. I'm going to be like, Dak, so why aren't you running this year?
Not awkward at all.
No
pride here. As long
Dak's going to be like, what's
going on?
As long as
the Q gets asked, just know it will be asked on Thursday when they make him available to the media. We got you.
Love it. We love it. RDJ, appreciate the call as always. Be safe out there in New Jersey, and we'll talk to you again down the line. He brings up a great point, though, and Jerry was asked about it this morning. Jerry said, I don't necessarily want him running. He wants him to be smart about it, is what he said. He wants him to be smart. And if that's the case, I think whenever Jerry's cutting the checks that ultimately accumulate to $60 million a year, I think smart would be stay in the pocket. If it's Jerry's
economical
opinion.
runs, I'm down with.
Yeah.
You know it's also smart.
What's that?
Winning games.
Winning games. I agree. Trust me,
That's
I'm not the one
the
cutting
job.
the checks. So
that is the job.
That's what Mike McCarthy said yesterday. Our job is to win games.
Mm-hmm. If it's not about winning, we don't have time for it. He said that a couple times. They didn't have a lot of time last week, apparently.
Oh,
sorry. That's fine. They're 3-4.
Yeah.
Let's go back to Sean. Let's go back to Sean in Hot Springs, Arkansas. The optimism. It's a good thing because we're turning the page now. We're turning the page. We've got a tough schedule ahead. The Atlanta Falcons are on the docket at Mercedes-Benz Stadium in Atlanta, Georgia, going into the weekend. It is a big week for the Cowboys trying to get back to 500, and we will break down the Cowboys' defense and their matchup against Kirk Cousins and the Atlanta offense tomorrow. That's going to do it for us here on Talkin Cowboys. Special thanks to all those that gave us a call. It was a great Talkin Tuesday. You guys are fantastic as always, and we love you guys day in and day out. For Chris Beam, Josh Rodriguez, Patrik No C Walker, I'm Kyle Youmans saying so long from Talkin Cowboys. We will see you tomorrow.
This has been a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about this, Cowboys?